An announcement from the great and powerful Oz.
I thought it over, and green is dead. Till I changed my mind, the color's red.
Hey everyone, it's Red Angel. I have another incredible and talented individual on the line with me. You know how we do here on Red Angel Radio. I have and this is my word, a fantabulistic designer on the line with me. I would love to introduce Jen Prudhomme. Did I pronounce it right? Or is it Prudhomme?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm blessed. Excellent. Thank you.
I know that you are extremely busy. Your line is going to be featured at LA Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? Do you still have, all of your hairs and all of your nails? Like, are you frantic yet, or, just going with the flow?
I'm trying to keep every follicle intact at this very moment. Alongside being a designer, I am a very, very involved, I guess you could call it citizen in fashion, in the fashion industry in Los Angeles. So not only do I invest time in my own design and my work, but I also put a lot of time and effort in helping others and just supporting them in their productions or in their collections. So I try to balance everything as much as possible, but as you can imagine, Fashion Week is very demanding. And, yeah, I mean, it's intense, but I am working my best to just stay focused and keep everything intact.
Wow, amazing. Now, your line, which is Renee Prudhomme, you know what, that last name is so prestigious that it rolls off the tongue, but, it's like you have to have every syllable correct.
Yeah, and you know what? And honestly, the name it's French, so there's I'm sure people in fashion can even connect with the at the end of it, where it's man, that signifies man. So the name means wise men, and Renee Prudhomme is basically 2/3 of my name. So
right.
It's the name that identifies the woman that I currently design for.
Very nice. Now, I've had the opportunity to take a look at some of your designs, and they are amazing. Now, what inspires you? Where do you pull from? When you're creating these pieces, or when you're looking for the next pattern, like, is there a special place that you go in your head, or do you just, it just comes to you? You know what I mean? Like, how do you come up with?
Well, I think it's a little combination of the two. I have bits of physical inspiration, I have bits of spiritual inspiration. I think when it comes to the first half, which to me would be the physical, it comes from culture. A lot of my inspiration for my designs comes from culture. I grew up in a time where it was not hip to be an individual at all. Much like the 90s, a core part of the 90s was dedicated to, if you weren't cool, you were nothing. And now, I mean, everything's pretty much like a 360. Everybody is very much so in tune with what power there is in having self-love and being connected to who you are as a person, whether it's creatively or just identifying psychologically who you are and being in touch with that amongst society. So when I created the line, I was designing for an individual. I was designing for a woman who wanted to stand out in a crowd, or for that woman that didn't know how to. I wanted to meet her in two different places, because I don't want to ever feel like I'm designing for one type of woman, because you get stuck if you do that. But I do believe that there's a place for everybody to have that type of feeling, that type of feeling where they stand out, even though they don't know how to get there. And I wanted my clothes to help bring them there, or to help accentuate that asset if they already had it. In terms of the spiritual part, I think a lot of my discoveries have been spiritual moments. I don't sketch often, and I actually, ironically, I hate sketching.
Wow.
When I was training as a designer at Cal State Long Beach, a lot of our work came from sketching the design first and then going to the pattern or going directly to the dress form to drape. And a lot of the work that I wanted to do it just flows through you. A lot of times you don't have to put a pen or a pencil to a piece of paper.
Right.
You see it, it's given to you, and you're ready to create. And that's very much so like what my process is. I like to sketch, if anything, after the design comes to me, and it usually comes to me by a fabric that's brought my way or comes across my path, or even certain silhouettes trigger something, but usually it's the fabric that brings me to a design. Patterns, color, usually trigger my creative modes and give me the designs that become a collection eventually.
You know, you're very passionate about what you're saying. It's like I can tell even when you're describing your process for coming up with that individual piece or pieces. When you were younger, is this something that you envisioned yourself doing?
Never. I was
really
always, absolutely, because I think some of it is some people know, and it depends on how early or even it depends on what path you're given. Some people find what they're supposed to do at age 6. Some people find it at 16, and some people find it at 60. I knew I was creative, but I did not know that industry in the past that spiritually was going to be given to me was fashion. I knew there was something. I do a lot of graphic designing. I do a lot of everything. I'm very hands-on. I'm very crafty, artistic, and creative, but I didn't know where that would be placed or where the purpose for all those works with my hands would go to. And the direction came through my sister, who also went to Cal State Long Beach. Gave me just a little hint to maybe look into the fashion department there, and I did, and it was like, sorry for the cliche or, the tabooness of this comment, but it was like love at first sight. It was something that fully embodied every aspect of who I was as a creative person. So imagine, as a young kid, you love to color, you love to draw, you love to, cut up fabric and sew fabric, but you have no idea what all these different loves are supposed to do. And in fashion, I found that there was a place for every aspect of what I do creatively, the graphics, the fashion design, the sketching, everything, and even the administrative aspects of it. I love handling the business of fashion, and fashion is not all visual pop and color. It's very much so an aggressive business. So I found my place there.
Wow. Well, I have to say I love speaking with you. I love hearing you speak on what you do. I can honestly say you love what you do so much that I can tell it doesn't feel like work.
No, but it is hard work.
Right.
You're under the gun and you have a deadline. That's when it really feels like work. When you have someone saying, "Look, I need this done and I need it now," or I've had moments where I had something that usually it should take at least 12 hours to complete a complex design, and it might have been custom. But I was forced to get it done within a night. I have moments where you don't have time to take pleasure in the work. You have to let the work be the work so you can complete it, and then take pleasure in the results.
Can you give us a little hint as to what we're going to see on the runway?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm doing a presentation, which is more of an art gallery style presentation for a way of showing your work. I've done collective runway shows in the past, major runway shows in front of over 1,000 people, and this was something that I wanted to premiere in a more intimate environment because I felt like it fit the attitude of where the collection is going. So a lot of the pieces have combinations of batik and multicolored prints, which goes to the cultural attributes that I was talking about earlier. This collection is specifically inspired by African and Native American culture, and I feel like when you grab or reach towards cultures that have a lot of principles and just basic elements, basic understandings of way of living and beauty and the fundamentals of who we are as people here on earth, I think you're able to almost reinvent what your perspective on life and art is. So I utilize African and Native American culture as a basis to get me grounded in what type of collection I wanted to create, and then allowed a lot of the pops of color, the things that really show attitude and personality within both cultures, to shine through the collection. So there's batiks, there's multicolored prints, there's beadwork. I have a couple of different angular inspirations from both cultures. I have a dress that looks like a Jalisco, which is more or less it's a Latino traditional garb dress that's like a ruffle along the neck, and I have something that's inspired by that. So everything, it kind of touches on inspiration from a fundamental, two fundamental cultures, and then kind of branches out from there to create this woman, this bold woman who doesn't mind color, doesn't mind prints, and but wants to be connected.
Wow. It sounds like me. I guess I need one of everything in my closet.
Look, yes, absolutely. I mean, and then of course I understand that some people are afraid of color, so I definitely have a couple pieces that are black. They're very monochromatic. I'm not one who always wears color, but when I do, it's bold. So I do have a few pieces where if you're not someone who likes to wear color all the time, then I have some great pieces that can be worn. Asymmetrical totem skirt. I call it a totem skirt because it's shorter at the sides, and then in the front and the back it's longer, and it drapes along both ends beautifully, and it reminds me of a totem when it's on a woman. It's just a statuesque, it creates a statuesque silhouette. So that's why I called it a skirt. But different things like that, and I have something where if you wanted to match it up with something else in the collection, you could. If you wanted to wear it by itself, you can do that as well.
Well, I know that I'm looking forward to seeing your pieces, and if you could just let everybody know where they can find you on the internet and the information on your show, or where you will be showing.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone can find me at ReneePrudhomme.com. That's ReneePrudhomme.com, as well as JennyPS.com. That was my original designer portfolio webpage. My show is actually on October 23rd, which is the tail end of Fashion Week. It's going to be in Venice, California, at a private suite. And anyone who is interested in coming to the event and being a part of it is more than welcome to RSVP at ss2012@reneeprudhomme.com.
Well, I thank you so much. You are always welcome here, and I know that I have to get a couple of pieces because I've seen it and I want to wear it.
Thank you so much. No, I truly appreciate that, and I could already tell that you're probably one of the women that I'm designing for.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. I can tell you are right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, listeners, don't you move. We have some more great music coming up, and make sure that you check out this designer as well as all of the other designers that we were speaking of. LA Fashion Week has kicked off. It is going to be phenomenal, and you can't say that this angel didn't give you anything good. So don't you move. More great music coming up next.